All right, up next is going to be Mike in Houston, Texas. Hey, Mike, what's your story?
Well, I've been a pretty good saver, and I want you to tell me if I can afford to buy a house on Lake Travis.
Okay.
My wife says it's a no-brainer, but I'm not able to make myself spend the savings I have.
How much savings do you have?
About $4,027,000.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you done a good job, Mike. How old are you?
I'm 49.
How'd you come up with $4 million?
Well, I've been saving it since I was 18, and it just grew through the stock market over time.
Yeah. So, have you got a new car?
I drive a 2000 truck. She has a new Mercedes.
Yeah, okay. She should. She put up with you, didn't she?
Yes, she does.
There you go. So, what's your household income?
I take home about $15,000 a month.
Okay. All right. And your current home is paid for?
It is.
And everything else is paid for?
Yeah, no debt.
Dude, you are classic. You have done such a good job. Congratulations. So what's the lake house cost?
Well, they can cost anything you want to spend.
Oh, well, I know that. Okay.
I've been saying, let's just go rent for $10,000 a week a couple of times a year, and that's a lot cheaper than having your money tied up. She says, waterfront real estate is skyrocketing in value, probably will continue to over long periods of time. You won't get hurt, and you leave your clothes in the closet. Quit being so tight.
I like this woman. Okay. You got you a good one, brother. And so I mean, seriously, what if you bought one, what would you spend?
Probably, I'd want to spend $800,000 to $1.2 million, and she's in that $1.5 million range.
Okay. Well, this time, this part of the conversation, I'm probably going to agree with you. If I had $4 million in the bank and my home was paid for and I'm making $15,000 a month and I've done as good a job as you've done in your 40s, would I buy a lake house for $800,000 to $1.2 million by Friday?
You would?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I own a lake house.
Well, good. And you enjoy it?
Oh, man. It's one of the best decisions we ever made. We almost put in a swimming pool, which I would have had to clean that. So lake's great. Does its own thing, And it does go up in value, generally speaking. Property with views and on the water is some of your better investments, with the exception of pure resort real estate. I mean, you have to be careful with stuff like beach real estate, or mountain resorts. But if you just get something with a view or something on water that's in a pretty stable type area, she's right. Lake property generally is a fabulous investment. So from the investment aspect, that's true, and the enjoyment aspect. And, of course, you're going to write a check, no debt.
Right.
Oh, I'd buy it by Friday, my brother.
Well, I appreciate it. Coming from you, I'll loosen up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You say, that guy, that's classic. I tell you, you just heard the average millionaire. That's the average millionaire in North America. It's not some Hollywood geek or sports figure. You just heard him. I talk about him all the time. And he drives an old pickup. Shut up! Okay? Yes, his wife drives a new Mercedes, but yes, he got $4 million in the bank. Shut up. She deserves that, okay? And so he can afford to drive a new Mercedes. And he can afford to buy some lake property, which, by the way, is a good investment for some of that $4 million, not to mention the fact he get great enjoyment out of it. But when you hear me say, live like no one else, so later, you get the opportunity to live like no one else. I mean, some of you are saying, he's lucky. I wish I was him. I'd do anything to get to be him. Would you? Would you do anything? Would you drive an old pickup? Would you say no to yourself a lot of times so that later you can say yes to yourself a lot of times? See, that's living like no one else, so later I get to live like no one else. That's getting out of debt, getting on a budget, living on less than you make. And as your income goes up, you keep your lifestyle down to reasonable, and you chunk the rest of it in good mutual funds, and you wake up and you're 40-something years old with $4 million. And you worked so hard to get it, you're very, very, very thoughtful about what you do with it then. I mean, he's not necessarily tight. He did need to loosen up a little bit, but he's not freaky about the money. But you work so that, you know how much blood, sweat, and tears that $4 million represents? It represents a lot. It's hard to, it makes you thoughtful. You give pause, and you kind of hesitate, and you go, well, is this really and I'm going to seek counsel of other people, and I'm not going to just go do this. And it makes you think different, doesn't it? Guys, you just heard a classic conversation. That's a case study right there. You wanna be somebody financially, you can pattern yourself after that guy. And his wife, for that matter. Sounds like he's got a good one, doesn't he? She's making good suggestions to enjoy the money, but she's also been with him all these years as they've built this and as they've sacrificed to win. Ha! There you go. Hey, again, we need to just archive that call, Blake. That one needs to be posted on the web. That's perfect.